As it is now already visible, we are really flexible.
All liberals. So yeah, thank you very much for the invitation, and yeah, it's a great pleasure for me to talk about Hungary over here. As you probably heard our story, what happened from the beginning of 2010, when Fidesz received its first two-thirds majority. They didn't even need any regulation change. We had a quiet, fair election system. There was a mixed system. And however, the opposition did its best. After the world crisis, world economic crisis, it was nearly impossible due to other problematic cases in the Hungarian government also that was created by the socialists and the liberals together. It was nearly impossible to break anything what Fidesz was going to do with the country. So after this election, they changed our constitution. They even changed the country's name. We are not anymore the Hungarian Republic, but we are just Hungary. I think this is pretty clear what they wanted to do with our society and with our democratic institution system. They also changed the election law before 2014. This means that they are gerrymandering, playing with the compensation list rules. They have a winner-takes-all regulation, so they helped themselves to get the second two-thirds majority. But the main problem is that they have still 2.5 or 2.7 between these numbers voters, which is enough even in the old election system to have the simple majority, and this is a dramatic situation. What happened in this time with the Hungarian liberals? This is a great question, because the Alliance of Free Democrats fell out from the National Parliament in 2010. There was our transition, one of the transition parties in Hungary that was a really great and powerful party, was a coalition partner of the Social Democrats 3 times. They were successful. They led several ministries, also for education and for culture. So they were really high educated people, but they forgot about the Hungarian society. They didn't ask people what they need or what they want. The Liberal Party not even exist anymore, and we actually were staying there with 40-50 people. I was also one of them because I was at that time really young, but I really believed that Hungary needs liberalism and needs liberal values, and we really believed that we can create a new liberal party. So at that time, a small group started to launch a party, and another small group started to negotiate with Gábor Fodor, who was a transition politician. He is our party leader now, and yeah, another small group started to write a small liberal newspaper. That was just a small newsletter. It was sent for 5,000 people, but still, we had small institutions before the party also. This is already our party foundation. This is a press conference in 2013. At this time I used to live in Berlin, actually, so the current party director called me on Skype if I want to meet Gábor Fodor, because they were looking for young people who want to create a new liberal movement and a new liberal party. And we didn't know, but what is coming. We just wanted to believe that that we are able to create this party, but of course it wasn't easy because there were deepening crises in the Hungarian opposition too, in all parties. For example, the former Prime Minister Ferenc Gyurcsány has left his party, the Socialist Party, and created his own party, the Democratic Coalition. This is a Social Democratic Party. The Greens have taken all the liberal votes after 2010, and they didn't even know what to do with their membership of the Hungarian Parliament. So there was a chaotic situation. In 2012, Gordon Bajnai, who was a crisis prime minister of Hungary and who helped our society a lot after the world crisis to get out from the social and from the financial crisis, actually many people are waiting for him until now because many opposition voters believe that our party, or my party, Hungarian Liberal Party, got to the parliament, that we created an alliance with 4 other parties, and this is how our party leader could get into the parliament to represent liberal values, which was really hard for him also. And in 2018, it was even nearly impossible to create an alliance between opposition parties. In this time, the extremist party, Jobbik, which means in Hungarian the better one, so they are also playing with their name and with words, could win more votes. So it seems to be so that many Hungarians believe in changing, but they don't believe in democratic opposition parties, and they don't believe in liberal values. And this is a huge problem, of course, not just for liberals and not just for the democratic opposition parties, but also for our future, because this is the reason why we started with an identity campaign, to show that being a liberal is not a bad thing; it's a good thing. Because we believe in human dignity, we believe in equal treatment, we believe in equal chances, and these values are not dangerous. This is the biggest trick, I think, of populism and of the current populists also, that they say that liberal values are dangerous. Liberals are dangerous because they will cause chaos in the country. However, populists are those that are damaging rule of law. And this is how we arrived to this December, when the Hungarian opposition parties decided to create a small demonstration in the parliament. I think this was a great project, because we could show to the voters that however, we are sitting there and we do our best, and we believe that our voters are also doing their best. We cannot change anything, so now we have to shout. We have to be really loud, and you voters, you also have to be loud and come to the streets and demonstrate against slave law, how we named the amendment of the work code, which means that you can work 400 extra hours without having a salary for 3 years. So you can work actually 6 work days a week, and your employer is allowed not to pay for you for 3 years. And this is what we were trying to show. This was pretty successful. This was pretty successful because the outcome was that Yeah, I would like to show you two more pictures. Actually, my favorite one is also here. This. This is our Prime Minister. He didn't even understand what is happening. He used to be a stable person, or a person who always knows what to say or what to do. And at this time, we didn't want to leave the speaker to go to his place. I don't know if you heard about this, but we were just standing over there with other opposition politicians. Actually, we lost the whole salary for March for this action, but we didn't mind because I think it shows really well that every regulation are working against the opposition parties and for the government parties and for the government. And at that time, at that moment, something has changed because the society, or at least those who believe that the opposition is still able to change something, started to invite all opposition parties. However, it is really hard because, as I mentioned, we had an extremist party, Jobbik, which started to change itself. They want to come to the political center, but they still have politicians that are extremists. And this is a hard decision if you want to cooperate or not. And this was one of the hardest part for liberals in the last couple of weeks. How we decide. So we decided to cooperate with all parties just on several issues, and not on elections or not on every political level. And what happened within the opposition, women MPs and their right cap became really important because at the first mass demonstration we were invited together to the stage. We just had 90 minutes per each on the stage, but it had a clear message that we want to change something over there. And we don't mind if we don't share every values together, but still we have to do something, and this is what the society was waiting for. This was a week after. So this demonstration was a week after our action in the parliament, and after this demonstration, a small group of demonstrators and politicians went to the state-owned media building, and we occupied a part of it, and we claimed them to read our 5 points claim: annihilate the slave law, less overtime for the policemen, independent courts, joining the European prosecution, and independent public media. Of course, they didn't want to, so we spent there a whole night and one more day until people arrived to the building one more time, and they started to demonstrate, not just for us, but also for the 5 points. I think this was a turning point also because we started to trust each other, and after that it was much more easier to negotiate on different issues, on different demonstrations. For example, one more thing from the whole Orbán system, our all opposition parties received huge penalties, and we had to pay a huge amount of money. We had all frozen bank accounts before or after the elections, for example. So we liberals are now able just, I don't know, 30 or 50 euros to pay because we seriously don't have any money. So this was that demonstration when we were demonstrating against this. And and also this is the parliamentary action where we didn't leave the speaker, thank you very much, the speaker to go to his chair, and that wasn't even a problem for them and for the government, because he went to his chair and he started to lead the voting session. So this is what happened. Of course, we went to Strasbourg, but it will take at least 4 or 5 years until we receive back not just our salaries, but until we can change the work code back, because we should annihilate that new regulation. And now I'm sorry for this at least 10 minutes, but I really wanted to show you what happened in the last couple of months, because Hungary is in a really special situation. Now 600,000 of people have left the country. Most of them are younger people. Most of them are more liberal than the average. So it is not easy to show anything for those who were not liberal or who were not open for liberal values. But this is how we started the party, because we really wanted to show that people use even liberal values if they don't know. And we wanted to show them faces that were well known and also beloved by the Hungarian society. Also, he was ALDE was our first president for 2 times 5 years. He said that we live in not really enough, so we are still not able to meet the threshold, which is 5%. We are roughly at 1% for a long time, so this is a problem. And these are our main topics, what we're focusing on. So we still believe that, however, the Hungarian society is not really open for liberal values, but they are open for a better school system. They claim equal treatment and equal chances. However, they are not really formulating it, but still, we also women, also Roma people, disabled people, the LGBT people. We have also a marijuana legalizing campaign, because this is definitely a topic what the leftist parties are not even talking about. However, it shouldn't be a hot potato in a European country or in an EU country. So, and yeah, I really wanted to mention that we had a great foreign policy expert, but he had to leave the party as we couldn't even finance him. And his case shows really well how this system works, because however, he is a well-known person, he was an ambassador, he was a state secretary, you know it from Slovenia. He's a beloved person, and he is seriously a really good expert, and however, he is who he is. He wasn't able to find anything to do or to work for, because he was in the Liberal Party, or he was a part of the opposition. And he said, "I'm really sorry guys, but I have to leave you, otherwise I won't be able to find my way as a consultant, as anything in the labor market, or even in a Do you agree or you don't? And we said, however, the question is wrong, but we still can have a good answer. We can say yes for the European Union. We can say yes for humanity. We can say yes for those who are asking for our help. And this was also a turning point because, as you probably know, our government is working with propaganda on placards. They have huge placard campaigns, and after this referendum, where actually all other opposition parties, the Liberal Party not, but all other parties wanted to boycott this referendum because of this wrong question. And our point was that we have to attack the government. We have to say something different. We have to show what the migration crisis is, because people don't know anything about this. We have to talk with them. We have to talk via media also. And all the other opposition parties said, no, we don't go forward. And we think this was a huge mistake because at this time the Hungarian opposition could have a chance to show something against the Hungarian government parties. A little bit less than 2% we received as a yes answer, which sounds not really great. But a day after, the government started a placard campaign that 98% of Hungarians don't want to have any migrants in the country. So without the Hungarian Liberal Party, probably they could have written 100% of Hungarians. And this is what we could reach. Of course, this is not a huge number, but still, the Hungarian government has shown that, however, no one wants to come to our country because this is a huge mess. Because they built down the rule of law, they damaged the democratic institution system, they even damaged the market economy. So nearly no one wants to come to our country, and still they could create a migration issue with the hate campaign together. So I think this is a special drama. This is why Viktor Orbán is a special case. However, we have many populist politicians all around in the world and in the European Union too. But what happened to Hungary is really a special thing. Where we are standing right now, two elections are coming in this year. In Hungary, the European elections and the local elections in autumn. Unfortunately, due to those things all happened to our bank accounts, to the whole opposition, we are really lack of resources. So we had to make a decision if we go for the European election or if we go to the local election. And we made the decision that we have a mayor candidate. He is a really young politician from my age or nearly my age, Adam Schember, who is running for the mayor position of Budapest. We don't know if there will be any pre-elections, because that would be the best one. We know that we need to cooperate. So this is why we will cooperate in those districts where we can, with leftist parties and with other opposition parties. And of course, where we cannot cooperate with anyone, then we will have liberal candidate teams. But this is everything what we can do now. However, we always are doing our best, but this is what we could reach in the last 6 years. And thank you very much for your attention, and in case if you have any questions.
Microphone. why not?
Yeah, this is...
Doesn't work. Should I give you another one?
Yeah, this is a really important question. As Momentum was founded a little bit against the opposition parties too. Their point is that they don't want to cooperate with the old parties. However, when they joined the ALDE party, we mentioned them and we invited them for a negotiation if we want to create a common European list. And they said no, because they probably, not probably, they want to show themselves to people, because this is one of their first chances to show up. And they believe that they are able to meet the threshold, which is 5% in Hungary, and to have one mandate in the European Parliament. So, yeah, this is a difficult story with Momentum.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
But you're cooperating in a way, so you are not in an adversary position.
Unfortunately, we're a little bit, in a bad situation, because we are also competing, of course, and however they are mostly from my age. We are trying to get some connections and invite them for events and conferences, but they want to go on their way. So this is the main part of that.
Is there a difference in the development between Budapest and the rest of the country?
Yes, there is. The agglomeration and Budapest are, of course, the richest part of the country, and most of the cities from the countryside are won by Fidesz. So the main focus of the opposition on the elections was the Budapest district or districts of Budapest, and also the agglomeration. This is a hard part also to get enough network for campaigning on the countryside. So they are much poorer than Budapesters. And also, I mentioned it at the beginning of the presentation that they changed the press law and they changed clearly everything what they could with the two-thirds majority, and they bought nearly every newspapers on the countryside that are printed. And as the internet penetration is pretty less over there, we should go there personally. But without resources or with less resources, it is really hard. So yes, there's a huge gap between.
Seeing the candidate for the mayorship in Budapest, is your strategy to concentrate on Budapest rather than supporting elsewhere in the region?
Yeah, of course, we have to concentrate firstly on Budapest because we can find their liberals easier, of course. But I'm really proud of it that we have a liberal mayor. He is in a really small village in South Hungary. This is one of the poorest villages of Hungary, and more than 90% of the inhabitants are Romas. So I really believe that they can vote for liberal politicians also, and there are some smaller cities and towns where we have major candidates to liberal ones.
Sehr schwer.
Yeah, this is what we can do now.
Individual members, dann ist sie mal ein bisschen mal, oder halt mehr Mitglieder.
When people were there too, we talked about the let your grandmother ready use internet, because you talked about the problem of getting the media into the countryside. Did something like that come out? Did you try something? Is there an increasement of people using internet in the countryside, or still?
We couldn't succeed that project. We yet, but yeah, step by step, I really believe that we can manage this. I really believe that these mayors will help, or mayor candidates will help a lot in their regions, because they also have to negotiate with other opposition politicians, and if they cooperate, then they start talking with people. So I really believe that a kind of offline internet we can start with these people.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I remember perfectly well that when Hungary entered the NATO many years ago, there was, I don't know the name, the Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs, who said, Hungary is coming home. Mm-hmm. It was a marvelous sentence because it summarized all the history of Hungary. Mm-hmm. Now, which is the home country of Hungary? With the Western countries or with the Eastern countries?
I think that the best answer is that we had our first government after the regime change from the People Party's side, or from the conservative side. And the famous foreign minister of that government didn't want to come to an event of our current government, because he said, and he came to our event, to the liberal event on the same day, and he said, I came to your event instead of the government once, because I believe that this country finds its home in the Western European side and not on the Eastern European side. So I think that most people believe in Hungary that we should go to the direction of Western Europe. But the current government wants to cooperate with Eastern European countries, and the biggest problem is Putin's Russia, because our country is also highly influenced by Russia, and there would be no problem with Russia in case if Vladimir Putin would respect human rights, would respect all the European values and so on. So yeah, this is not a geographical question, of course, this is a political question, and we are in a deep crisis with this.
I would like to add something to the question about Russia and what is interesting for me. I mean, as far as I know, the Hungarian society, that it's more a matter of Orban, who appreciates Putin, than the society. I mean, the people are much more critical than compared to countries like Serbia. So what is your opinion about the people's attitude towards Russia?
Yeah, this is also really interesting what happened in Hungary, because there was a contract signed on our next nuclear energy factory between Hungary and Russia. And this 80% of this contract is a top secret for 30 years. And the Hungarian government was able to turn the Hungarian society in a direction that they believe that this is not a problem. However, Viktor Orbán was able to come up at the time of the transition with a clear message that the Russian army should leave our country. So this is a huge problem, that through that propaganda and through their blockade campaigns, they are really able to change millions of people. And I think that the Hungarian society was really disappointed at the time when the elections came in 2010. So they believed that every single political party is a wrong one. So now they should open a new page in our history, and they have a chance to do this. And Fidesz used this out. So this is what they've done. And they changed the Hungarian society a lot. We were pretty an open society, especially at the beginning of the 90s. Many people believed in liberal values, even if they couldn't even define these values, but they felt pretty much from the Western world and from the European values. And after the first government of Hungary, they were enough disappointed to choose the Socialist Party, and after then Fidesz, and after then the Socialists and the Liberals together. So, and after 20 years, they were completely fed up. And Viktor Orbán was able to move them wherever he wanted to on the map. And yeah, they changed their mind in several issues.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for
We
your
are very happy. Oh, sorry, George.
I just wanted quickly to know the demographics of the voters of Fidesz. I mean, like younger people, older people, a mixture, something like that. So when you try to do campaign strategies against them, yes, do you try to appeal to younger people, or do you try to touch on themes that touch middle-aged people? Because a lot of the campaign strategies now focus on trying to attract younger people with online activities and things, and there seems to be sometimes a bit of a misunderstanding about the appeal of populist parties. They seem to appeal actually to more middle-aged people in a way. How does that look like? And also, have you been able to discuss how to create an identity profile of who is a good Hungarian or something like that in order to counteract the identity politics?
So about the voters, that's a mixture. Of course, they are trying to buy the pensioners with different coupons and with small amounts of money. So this is seriously humiliating what they are doing with old people. But we can't do anything against this because they are poor. So because our pension system is the wrong one, we would really need a huge reform for the whole system. But there was no single government who could have succeeded this. And this is good for Fidesz because it is easy to buy votes and pensioners. So this is a sad story. But why it is a mixture? Because their economic policy is good for those who are not against them, but who are entrepreneurs or who want to get some EU money. So they created kind of Fidesz society, and who can make steps with them, they can make good money on the market. This is how the system works, and many sport clubs or even civil organization have understand this, and they just started to act in the system or within this framework, and this is why this is a mixture.
Thank you very much, Anett.
Thank you very much.
I have now to ask you to stop our